Hey, hi, hello. My name is Cleverly Jones, and today we're going to discuss Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. Now, this won't be your typical review. I'm going into this discussion as if you have already read the book because it's a discussion, so I won't be going point by point. I'll hit you with a quick summary of the book. I'll go over some general observations that I had. I'll go over some good parts of the book, some bad parts, and then I'll let you know if I think the book is worth a listen. So, on with the quick summary. The book opens up with Byron and Benny meeting at the lawyer's office after their mom has passed away. They go in there and they find out that the mom has left them a recording letting them know about her past. So the kids go in assuming they know everything about their mom, but they come out of that lawyer's office knowing that their mom has had some secrets about her past. So, some general observations that I had about this book. I felt that Covey, who is the main character of the book, is a very tragic figure. She had a lot of things happen to her. Her mom left her at an early age, left her with her dad. Her dad had a gambling addiction. He also was an alcoholic. Her dad gave her hand away in marriage to a gangster on the island in order to pay his gambling debts. So that was also very tragic. Uh, Covey was also later raped by one of her bosses. So I felt that was tragic. Her baby was taken from her. Basically, she was coerced by, Covey was coerced by nuns to give up her baby for adoption. So that was very tragic. I don't know if Covey was ever truly happy. That's the sense that I got from the book. Um, Her son Byron was another observation. I thought Byron had the uppity black male trope. I thought it was kind of an unfair burden. He felt like he had to represent every black man in his field because there weren't that many blacks in his field of study, which I think is kind of, I don't know, old school thought. At this point, if you're in a work environment and you happen to be the only person of color, and people don't know about you, that's kind of their issue, not your issue. Google exists, books exist, everything exists if you want to find out about another culture, or you can just simply go up to that person, talk to them, ask them about their culture. I don't feel like you should have to take on that burden, and I feel like that's what Byron did throughout this book. So I didn't care for his character. I thought his character was kind of underdeveloped and just the typical trope of I'm a black male, I have to watch my back, people are looking at me, and having just this undue stress and burden. I know a lot of black men go through that, but I don't know if it felt right in this book. The daughter Benny, I felt bad for her. She was very needy and she was in an abusive relationship. Um, I didn't like the drama between her and her parents not accepting her sexuality. I feel like that could have been fleshed out more because she didn't really give her parents a chance to accept her. They kind of were quiet on the subject. She knew they had possibly some problems with it, but she never even gave them time to speak. They discussed it. The parents left the room. As soon as the parents left the room, she left. So she didn't even give them a chance to tell her how they felt about her sexuality. And her parents, they just needed a moment to talk to each other, and they supported her. They loved their daughter. They wanted to, accept her and embrace her, but she never knew that, and she ended up isolating herself and getting in bad relationships and bad situations just based off of a thought of her parents not accepting her. She didn't fully know it. So I didn't really like that portion of the book. Um, I'm speaking about the bad parts. Other parts I didn't like about the book were everybody was in love with Kobe. Why? And that wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary to the book, but her best friend was in love with her. Her Everybody on the island loved her. The lawyer loved her. It was just too much. It was like she was some type of vixen or some type of succubus for my horror fans. It was not cool. So it was like, this is not necessary to the book. I didn't understand this piece of the book. The book was really long. And I love audiobooks, but this book was really long and it jumped from place to place, which I typically don't have a problem with. But the way they put this story together, I had an issue with it. Plus, with things like that weren't necessary to the book, like everybody being in love with Kobe, that all could have been taken out. I feel like Bunny still would have poisoned the little man just because that was her best friend. That was her best friend. That was her sister. When you have that best friend bond, you'll do anything for your best friend. So I don't think Bunny needed to be in love with Kobe in order for that point to be stressed that she would do anything for her. I also dislike that there was just too much happenstance in this book. It was too fantastical. Different parts of the book, it just, this wouldn't really happen, which I don't mind if it's a horror or a fantasy book, but when it's kind of like based on real life, it throws me off a little bit. Um, how she just happens to run into her long lost love Gilbert after all this time. How she just happens to see Bunny after all these years. She just happens to find her daughter scrolling on the internet. It was just way too much happenstance for me. It didn't make sense. It really didn't fit with this book. And I think this contributed to the book being too long. They tried to wrap everything up with nice bows, and I really didn't. I didn't like that. I didn't appreciate that part to this book. What I liked about the book was how they intentionally didn't mention what Caribbean island Colby was from. I think it mirrors the discussion in part 4 with Maribel. How you really can't distinguish where the black cake comes from. You know, it took a different cultures and different parts of the cake came from different cultures. It's the same thing with the Caribbean islands through the slave trade and different people migrating there, different cultures make up the Caribbean islands. So I did like that discussion point of the book. So finally, is this worth a listen? I would say yes. If you have things to do, then this is worth a listen. If you have 12 hours and you can multitask, then yes, this book is definitely worth a listen. There's some good aspects of it. Although I had some problems with it, I still think it was a good book. Um, Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Drop down below if you think I've left any important parts out or anything that stuck out to you. I will be reviewing the television series Black Cake once all the episodes are released. I like to binge watch things, so once all the episodes are released, please come back and listen to my comparison to the book from the TV show to see if they stayed on track or if anything else spoke out to me in this show. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in. Bye.